Hello, my name is Jarrett Mitchell, and this is my presentation on Workmen's Comp. This is a little bit of an overview of what we will be hitting during the presentation. And we'll be going over what Workmen's Comp is and why it matters, why it's important. Be going over a little bit of the history, some data points that I found important to Workmen's Comp, some myths, and a case study that I found. Then we'll also be going over a conclusion that I made while researching Workmen's Comp, and then on the last page, obviously we will have some references. So what is Workmen's Comp and why is it important? So basically it's established laws and regulations that protect employees and employers alike. It is protecting employers from getting sued for pain and suffering, and also it protects employees that are injured at work for loss, so they'll be able to get lost wages, and also funds to pay for medical bills. It is important because it protects both employees and employers. In Michigan, it actually, going to the history, it adopted this Workmen's Compensation Act in 1912. In the Workmen's Compensation Act, it's actually giving the workers give up the right to sue. In exchange, they were able to get lost wages and money for their medical bills. You can actually find the compensation tracing back the rules and regulations all the way back to 2050. Of course, they were not as specific or the exact same rules we have now, but for example, some of them were illustrating scheduled payments for specific injuries, as far as losing body parts, a thumb or a finger. This definitely has came a long way since then. So basically, Michigan in 1912, along with most of the other states actually, put in a no-fault system. So under the rules that the worker and the employer didn't go to court and they weren't trying to find fault in each other. This would just be saying the workers can get funds, like I said, for lost wages and medical bills, but could not pursue any funds for pain and suffering. So some of the data I found interesting. It looks like Zimmerman, in a video interview I found, said 90% of Michigan workmen compensation cases do not make it to trial. I didn't look in or see how accurate that information was. I just wanted to illustrate how strongly that Zimmerman feels, and how basically the research shows how few actually make it to court and is settled out of court. The most common way of settling is a lump sum outside of court. Once you go to court, you actually can't get that lump sum anymore. You can't be awarded a lump sum. You can only be awarded a weekly compensation package from a judge or magistrate. So once the lump sum offer is declined, that is actually not something that you can get from Workmen's Comp, which I thought was interesting. Some myths I found were most workers' compensation claims are fraud. So that's not true. I found that there was a lot of negativity found around Workmen's Comp, especially from employers paying out, but the research says actually that they are mostly legit. You cannot collect Social Security and Workmen's Comp at the same time. You actually can. The employer's role in once the Workmen's Comp is paid. I found that the employers actually are not off the hook or should not be off the hook once they pay the claim. They actually should follow up and keep in contact with the employee that they're paying the workman's comp to, because they can actually see how the process of healing the injury is going, when they're going to be going back to work, if there's going to be coming back to work, and also there's a program to put them back into work where they can take on a lighter load once they healed far enough. There also was a rumor or a myth that people on Workmen's Comp are often lazy. I think that comes from the fact that some of them can refuse light duty work, but doing this will actually forfeit the benefit. So they have to go back to work taking a lighter load. So someone on Workmen's Comp going back to work and taking this lighter load could be viewed as lazy, but indeed that they're just taking it so they don't lose their benefit. Also, there's a rumor or there's myths that people oftentimes get rich off Workmen's Comp, which is not the case. The benefit is actually limited to 80% of a person's wages after taxes. So weekly, if they cannot work, they would receive actually 80% of what they used to be receiving at that same job. So the myth of getting rich is definitely false as well. The case study I found was a Madison Heights, Michigan police officer, and he actually applied for Workmen's Comp and did not follow it up with a lawyer or anything, or appeal his denial. He was actually it was actually not denied, but actually he was sent to different doctors along the road. He was in an accident to begin with, and he hurt his back, and he didn't get a lawyer involved. He just put his claim through as you usually would with a workman's comp compensation claim, and he said that they sent him to various doctors, and it always seemed after that doctor said you hurt, you needed treatment, he would go to the next one and the next one and the next one. Finally, he did receive surgery that he didn't have to pay for, but at that point his spine had actually already endured permanent damage. He states within the article that if he was, provided surgery right away, that definitely could have saved his spine and in the end his career. So it's definitely a serious matter. After the research I did, I came to a conclusion, which is workers' comp laws are very complex and varies from state to state. If you find yourself in a workman's comp situation in Michigan or any other state for that matter, you should contact a lawyer that specifically deals with these kinds of cases. And it's also a good idea, even if your claim is accepted and you're going to be getting a payout or they're going to settle it out of court, it's always good to contact a lawyer just to make sure that your compensation is all of what you deserve and all-inclusive, because there's a lot of ways that you can, or loopholes that the insurance agencies or the employers that can take to save their costs, and you end up on the short end. So that is my presentation on Workmen's Comp, and here are some references. Thank you for listening, and you guys have a great day.